I'm in me fucking house, stoned out of me head with loads of kids doing me head in. Please help. Welcome along to Obviously Fight Talk, episode 66. That was the magnificent reply by Neil Seary to USADA, asking him to let them know of his whereabouts. I'm joined, as always, by hashtag win decision, we'll call you this week, Robert Palin.
Thanks, man.
It's great to be back.
It is. It was a stressful day, though, man. I didn't see any of that weather today. Yeah. I'm a little bit stressed. Rob's short-staffed in his department and overworked and underpaid.
So welcome along to Obviously Fight Talk episode 66. If you're watching on YouTube or you're listening, give us a like or a share. Do everything you can. Comment and stuff. Like, share it on Facebook. Share it on Twitter. Share it on MySpace. Share it on
especially on MySpace.
Yeah, exactly. Share it. That helps the show grow. Shout out as always to our sponsors, Fight Star Ireland. Everything you need under one roof. The fighter's choice. And when we mean everything, we mean everything. MMAmix.com, they're obviously good because they're with Obviously Fight Talk. This week's show, we have a couple of guests lined up. We will be joined by Rush Fight Academy fighter Adam Beast Mode Caffrey. Adam ruled the amateur divisions coming up through his amateur ranks. He made his pro debut at BAMMA fighting Dylan Tuke. Didn't go his way. He got beaten that evening, and he then got another. He fought again and on TEF and beat Blaine O'Driscoll. And Adam will be on talking about his career and get to know Adam. We'll also be joined fighting this weekend David Khalsa taking on Ireland's own Cian Cowley. Both fighters making their pro debut under the bright lights of BAMMA in Birmingham this weekend. So looking forward to chatting with David about that fight with the great Cian Cowley. We'll have Referee's Corner with Daniel Movahedi. Daniel wants to speak a little bit about the confusion and back and forth with Mark Goddard with some people reacting on Twitter to the Che Mills Lewis Long fight. We'll then be looking ahead at UFC 211, and for this we will be joined. Get your pen and paper out.
I'm ready.
Write some odds down. The ODDSBible and MMA Latest. Darren Russell joins us to break down the card. Unfortunately, we will not be joined by Johnny Jitsu this week. Unfortunately, some bad news, tragic news for a friend of Johnny's. So, Johnny, we'll see you next week, and our condolences and thoughts.
Condolences, man.
Are with you and family and friends. Well, let's kick it off, Rob, where we do your quickfire news. Essentially what quickfire news is, we'll say a topic. Rob is blind to these topics this week.
Blind, man.
We have 2 weeks, I nearly said. We have 2 minutes to talk about said topic. So that's the rules. We tend to break them.
And why do we do it?
I
got a question. Why do we do quickfire news? Because I think it's for me, it's because we want to talk about everything possible that we can talk about in MMA, but it's just not plausible. We just can't do it. So we have to restrict ourselves because we'll go about 6 hours.
Yeah, well, what we tend to do is we tend to look at topics that we find interesting, and we almost, is it worthy of a topic itself? And by a topic itself, we talk about it for 15, 20 minutes. Yeah. So quickfire news, the stuff that interested us, that made us go, ooh. Yeah. And it's what we, it's worth talking about. Yeah. But like Rob said, if we talked about all these things in depth, see you tomorrow. So Kelvin Gastelum got suspended for 3 months by USADA for a failed drug test marijuana versus Vitor Belfort. The bout will be turned into a no contest, and he has to forfeit 20% of his purse. That's via Rafael Marano of Combat.
It seems a bit silly, doesn't it? Like, there was one comment on the article we put up on the page, and to an extent I do agree with him. I can't remember the guy's name, but shout out to you on Facebook, whoever said this. He's silly for doing it. If you're going to get suspended, you're going to get, money taken off you, you're going to get all this. You're silly for smoking a joint, he basically said, which is true. But then you have to go back to the argument of, does the punishment fit the crime? And it doesn't really. Like you're there with a bit weird there.
CBD.
I'm joking.
Available at Fight Star Ireland.
Yeah, but like it just seems silly that for a drug that's not performance enhancing, maybe it's enhancing in a way of it's gonna stop you from being hurt. Maybe it's gonna ease your nerves or whatever. But come on, it's not the same thing as steroids. And we've seen people who have been on steroids, who've got caught for steroids, got much less of a punishment than what Kelvin Gastelum got. And then you look back at Nick Diaz, what he got for for smoking weed or whatever, or using weed. It's silly.
Ash Harris commented on Facebook.
Ash Harris.
It's like For me, it's too big of a thing. Like a little further down in the news, you're not to know about it, but we talk about Nate Diaz. But like, you know, it's not as if it's performance enhancing. Is it performance enhancing that makes you recover? Like everyone's going on with the CBD oil, all the cannabinoids and everything that it is there. So if you are recovering quicker because of the use of it, in a sense, is that performance enhancing? Then, you could argue yes, because you're able to train. But
then, like, how far do you want to dig down? Are you going to say you can't take protein shakes because protein shakes, they'll recover your muscles, so that's performance enhancing? Do you know what I mean?
Well,
you're digging down so far into what's performance enhancing.
Well, listening to What's the Story podcast with Graham and Danny, they had Cian Cowley on, and Cian Cowley got given out for drinking coffee.
Exactly. And then that seems silly to me.
Coffee in a knock, because they said it's
the caffeine.
The caffeine. UFC official confirms Al Iaquinta remains on a bonus ban. The official spoke on condition of basically being kept anonymous because he's not authorised to speak publicly on the matter. However, they confirmed it was due to 3 strikes by Al Iaquinta. 1 was trashing a hotel room, 2 was cursing on a live broadcast, and 3 was not showing for the fighter conference. He also stated Iaquinta is telling us lies about having to beg for knee surgery. Al has been extremely vocal since his last victory over Diego Sanchez. What do we think? This seems to be the story that keeps running. Every time you tend to look at Twitter, Al Iaquinta is telling somebody to go fuck themselves from the UFC. But so is the punishment, again, we're talking punishment for a crime, is it worth it? 3 strikes, you can't earn a bonus?
I don't know.
And would he have got a bonus that night if he was eligible?
I don't know. Probably. Yeah, I think back in the Zuva days he would have, because they probably would have just gave another bonus. They usually, as far as we know, they didn't restrict it that much. They'll give the fight of the night bonuses, and then they'll just give out bonuses here and there.
He was even giving out about the fact that it's a bonus.
Exactly.
Why can't he just fucking pay me?
Yeah, pay me more. And it's crazy that the bonus money that you get for a lot of fighters is more money than your purse. Yeah, that doesn't seem right. That seems very strange, you know. But yeah, it's their company. It's a privately held company. They can do what they want. So to say, is it right for them not to offer a bonus for people who do things that they don't want them to do? You know, you can't really argue with it. But from a PR perspective, it's terrible. Like, you're coming out and saying to a guy who's been calling your company out, oh, they didn't give me a bonus because he had me on ban. You're coming out, yeah, he's on ban because this. Yeah. It sounds like a PR nightmare. That doesn't sound like the right thing to do. If they just come out and say, no, he's not on a ban, we just don't think he deserved one then, because who did he fight? He fought Diego Sanchez. But we thought the main event, we thought Cub Swanson versus Artem Lobov was a great fight. We had to give that to them. They could have went about it in a completely different way.
Mike Perry's knockout of Jake Ellenberger.
Yeah, and then we'd have the argument of, oh, well, they should have given another bonus, and then that's a different argument. No, we're not giving him a bonus because he's been a dick.
I think the big thing about it is the bonus scheme is a bit weird. That, you know, a bonus is meant to be a little bit, you know, a bonus is like a little bit more cream on the cake. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be, you know, you get
substantial amount.
It shouldn't be more than you get paid realistically. Like, but look, that's the format. That's the way it's gone. It is a bit weird. Fair play. Al Iaquinta has been screaming this from the roofs. It's because got him in trouble, though. Nate Diaz appeared on the MMA Hour special with Ariel Helwani earlier this week on Wednesday, and in typical Diaz fashion, he didn't hold back. Notable points were that he wasn't going to be doing McGregor's dirty work in fighting Ferguson. He also addressed the vape pen, confident stating that it don't matter. Diaz said, I banked out in the cannabis industry from it. It was a good move and it was organic. The rule has since been changed as well under the UFC's anti-doping policy with USADA. Beginning April the 1st, the in-competition window now closes after the completion of the post-fight drug test sample collection. If that sample isn't collected within a reasonable amount of time, the in-competition window will close 1 hour after the fighter's post-medical clearance. So what do you think's next for Diaz, basically? And in a way, did you listen to the MMA Hour and what were your overall thoughts on it? And that is mad, because remember he came out and he was vaping and everyone was going, is he fucking smoking pot? Like,
apparently I remember reading the next day, he said, I'm pretty sure he said it was CBD, and that's what he said. And then I read that Google searches for CBD oil and CBD went up like 400% or something, or more than that. So that's crazy. Fair play to him for making money outside MMA. That's brilliant.
What did you think of Diaz himself, though?
I thought it was great. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was pure Diaz. It's what you want from a Diaz interview. It started off, it was real, you know, all over the place, and then they finally kind of brought it into what you wanted to speak about. I don't think there was a huge amount of...
Was it worthy of a special, like, if you know what I mean? Do you think so?
Did you watch the whole thing?
Yeah. He didn't really announce that, though.
There was a couple of things. That's what I was going to say. There wasn't really anything kind of announced that we didn't know, except for he was offered the fight. That's a big one. He was offered the fight.
He offered and took it away, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you think he's going to fight again? Like,
yeah.
Do you honestly...
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, right? Like, obviously the whole thing that happened with McGregor, it was amazing, right? But is Diaz as valuable without Conor connected to him?
It's hard. I think he's not like, as valuable. Like, as valuable. Like,
do you think the Diaz Ferguson fight, if it happens, would be a huge sell or close to what it was against McGregor? Is the big ingredient in his popularity the McGregor end of it?
I think there's I think if you're going to put them together, McGregor sells against anybody, but you're putting against
the two
Diaz,
styles of trash talking.
That's definitely bigger. But I honestly think that Diaz on his own, like the UFC are like chomping on the bit for 400k buy rates right now. I think if you put Nate Diaz in the main event against somebody good, like someone decent, Tony Ferguson, you're 600k, maybe 700k. Just Nate Diaz alone. I really believe that. I think what he brought to the table against McGregor, you could see he went on the Conan, and I was surprised to hear that he kind of sorted that out himself as well. Like the UFC didn't sort that.
It was weird the fact that the UFC were saying you can only go on if Conor can go on and stuff like that.
Yeah, but he sorted it himself. But I thought it was brilliant. Really
Gegard Mousasi was asked about the former bantamweight women's champion Ronda Rousey, and he didn't hold back. She's a good fighter. She has the mentality of a fighter, but she doesn't have the skills of a stand-up fighter. He said, how can the media make her one of the best fighters when she can't even kick or punch? That's like Serena Williams playing without a backhand. How do they make her the greatest fighter of all time? Asked if he thinks Ronda will ever step back into the octagon, he replied, I think she has a lot of money. She doesn't need to fight. Gegard, did you see the quick questions he was asked? He was said a name like Michael Bisping, and he was like pussy or whatever. But like here he is, like Ronda. Is he wrong in what he's saying?
I don't know. Like
she doesn't have skills of a stand-up fighter.
Yeah, that's.
Did the media falsify her and build her into this unbeatable object that was not entirely that at all?
Yeah, but I do think we were just as guilty of it as anybody else. We did, say that eventually she will lose and whatever. But we were guilty of it, saying, oh, she was the best fighter. And, at the time she was. We can only go by what we've seen. We didn't see her get into situations that we've seen in the likes of the Holly Holm fight. So there was no way we could say that she had no stand-up. We did call out, and I think other people called out.
Against Beth,
she looked good, but
she looked good in the stand-up.
She looked sloppy, though, and I think people called that out as well. But then there was the whole Joe Rogan coming out and saying, oh, her striking was amazing, which it wasn't, but it looked good and she had power. But it's hard to say now, like, that it was wrong, because at the time she was beating everybody.
But they built the division as well, though, so it's like you can only push what's number one at the time.
Yeah, I think,
and she was number one at the time.
Exactly. I think.
Will she fight again?
No, I don't think so. I think those losses were too much. I think
there was a rumour of a Gina Carrero fight, wasn't there?
Yeah, but I don't think Gina's going to fight either. Especially not now. I think if Gina was going to fight, she was going to fight when Ronda was at her, the top of the game. But I do think that Gegard is a little upset the way the UFC aren't promoting him.
Yeah.
And I think rightfully so, because he's.
But now he's talking about himself. He's talking shit, like
exactly.
He's great,
and that's what the UFC want. They want not to talk shit about them, but they want to talk shit about
other
people.
And I don't mean talking shit, because this is something I don't think every fighter needs to talk shit. I think if you say something and it's your honest opinion, that's when it's good. And that's what they're doing with Gegard. They're sort of asking the questions where you're going to get the reaction.
Yeah.
BAMMA 29 takes place this Friday in Birmingham, and Irish eyes will be on Cian Cowley. The SBG man makes his pro debut against one of today's guests, David Khalsa. Cian represented Ireland and medalled in the IMAF Worlds last year in Las Vegas, but will now step into the BAMMA cage for the first time as a professional. Also on the card is Geordie Shore's Aaron Chalmers. Chalmers, I'm going with that.
Chalmers.
He makes his MMA debut. Tim Barnett makes his first title defence since his defeating Rhys McKee in Belfast. The card is available on Dave. So if you're at home, it's on Dave and Lads Bible Facebook stream. So we're obviously going to speak to David here, but what do we think? Cian coming off, he's been injured with the hand, he had surgery, he spoke in length about that, listening to What's the Story podcast, so listen to that after this. what do we think, Cian? We excited to see him in the pro debut?
Yeah,
ranks?
very excited. I'm very excited to see how he looks. I think Cian said it himself in his amateur. He couldn't get himself going. He couldn't really get a striking going. And when he did get it going, it was a little bit too late. But I'm really excited to see what he can do here because Khalsa is not a bad fighter. He's not a pushover by any means. I think he's 6-1 amateur.
6-1, yeah.
So Cian's getting a good fighter coming in here. And I'm very interested to see how he does. Obviously, as we're both Irish, we had him on. I'd love to see him do well. I'd love to see him go far. And you know, if you look at his Muay Thai game, it's second to none in Ireland, and it's up there in Europe. So definitely interested in seeing that. Aaron Chalmers, interested to see what he does. Another Muay Thai guy. Well, you know, he come from Muay Thai background, coming into MMA.
Not as extensive.
Not as extensive, but you know, he has a Muay Thai background. And then Tim Barnett, we've had him on the show. Probably the nicest fighter I've ever spoke to in my life.
Definitely.
He's like the nicest guy ever.
Yeah.
So definitely check that out. I'm actually really looking forward to this card.
I am like Cian. Obviously, we know Cian from the show here, but you know, I know Cian a long time as well. I can't wait to see him. I remember when this first came out, that Cian had gone to SBG. I remember talking on the show saying like he's designed for it. He has the body, he has the length, he has everything. I'm really excited to see him. I think it's great that he's making his debut in Birmingham. Now I can guarantee it to be between 50 to 200 from the borough over in Birmingham, but he doesn't have that added pressure of the 3 Arena and so many people. He spoke about that as well. Aaron Champ, do you know what? I always say it. I respect anybody, like, as I have never done it. Anybody who's willing to step into a cage with another man who wants to fight you and the door closes, I've number respect for him. And they're not giving him a bad fighter either, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it doesn't seem silly. Like when CM Punk fought and they brought him into the UFC, the biggest promotion in the world, and they put him against a hot prospect in Mickey Gall, who had an extensive amateur career. It's kind of like, that's silly. He's gonna get kicked around, like, you know. That's what's gonna happen. But this seems like, you know,
big, and it is good, and it's putting. Apparently, MTV are filming an episode of Shorty Short on the night. That's a bit weird though. Like, I wonder, will they be distracting him backstage and stuff like that? That's a little bit weird. Tim Barnett, like you said, one of the nicest human beings I've ever met in my life. Makes the debut against Rude Boy. It's like I said, check it out. It's a great fight. I'm looking forward to it. Friday night, watching fights. What else are you gonna do? Last piece on Quickfire News is Joe McColgan got back to the winner's enclosure on Saturday evening at Cage Warriors 83, finishing Richard Williams via guillotine choke with 1 second left in the final round. McColgan takes defeat for the first time in his last outing versus Arnold Cuero, but is tipped for UFC heights and took another step towards it with this victory. Is the SBG Hunter potentially the next big thing?
It's hard to say, but I'm a huge fan of John McColgan. I've said it publicly. I think I've said it on the show. I've said it on Facebook. I think he's a really, really interesting prospect. Not the youngest guy, and he's been around MMA for a long time. If you look at his record, his professional record, you wouldn't think so. And even if you look at his amateur record, he doesn't have the most fights in the world. But if you actually look when he started fighting and who he's fought, he's really good, and his boxing is really good. If you watch the fight, it was a good fight, but the finish was beautiful because who did he fight? I can't remember his name. Apologies to him. But the guy he fought kept shooting him for that takedown, and it was
the guy. Sorry, I thought you were talking about. You make me say Guerrero again. It's Richard Williams.
Williams. Kept shooting in for that takedown, and you could see at the end, McColgan got the guillotine in. It looked like he was maybe going to abandon it for a minute, and then eventually he kind of just went for it, and it was vicious. It was kind of like John Jones, Lyoto Machida, the way his spine was just like, it was vicious, but it was a beautiful finish.
Like, for me, when you look at, like, I remember when at BAMMA 26 when he fought Peter Queally, people were amazed by what he did. He bullied Peter Queally, like bullied him. Queally had a big win in Russia as well. Was that this weekend or last weekend? Last weekend, I think it was. So, you know, he's the guys he's fought are all tough, hard-nosed guys. I'm excited to see him. I think against Arnold Cuero was more the veteran. Like, that guy had 80 in fights. And, you know, that experience, and like Joe, I think he's a big thing. He's regularly on talking brawls with the lads as well. He's a great character. Well. He's a great character, and he's a highly skilled fighter. And you know, like, we are drenched with talent in this country, and definitely the SBG Hunter by nature as well. I honestly think he's a bright future.
I will say as well,
and he's the one that I can't believe BAMMA let go to.
Very strange. I'm not sure what happened there, but. I will say, I think Dave Fogarty made like a small little documentary thing. I think we put up on the page very good. I think it's only like 5 minutes, but it's on Joe leading up to that fight. And he's one of them type of guys, when you listen to him, like he has his head screwed on, straight.
He was talking about it was something that might be that documentary where he said something about if you pick the wrong fights for money.
He said once money starts influencing your decisions on what fight you have, then you have a problem, basically, which is kind of...
Also, big call-outs for Dylan Dennis. He wanted that Dylan Dennis and UFC Belfast that time. Remember, he was screaming for it.
Makes sense.
He's a very talented fighter, and again, I'm sure Cage Warriors, if they're returning to Dublin again or wherever, they'll have him higher up the card as well.
Absolutely.
Extremely talented. So that's your quickfire news this week, brought to you by Fight Star Ireland, the fighter's choice. So let's get Adam Caffrey on the phone and let's speak and push and promote local, young, talented MMA fighters. It's all I love. Like, we get giddy going, oh my God, we have such and such a guest on, when it's, the bigger guests, like the more well-known guys. But like anyone who follows Irish MMA, if you've been to like a Rumble and Rush or a Roy Ocean Fighting Championships or a Man of War, you've seen Adam Caffrey fight. And 9 times out of 10 you've seen Adam Caffrey win. He was dominant in amateur MMA with great wins over good mate of yours, Corto. His big wins over, he had a win and a defeat against Blaine O'Driscoll. Very talented fighter, and I'm looking forward to speaking with Adam. Obviously he trains as well out of Rush Fight Academy under the tutelage of Paul Cowser. Here's Adam Caffrey. Welcome back to Obviously Fight Talk, and as you can see, if you're watching, you'll find out in a second. If you're listening, we are now joined by Adam Beast Mode Caffrey. Adam, thanks for taking the time to come on to Obviously Fight Talk.
No problem, lads. Thanks for having me on.
Adam, I'm going to start out with the obvious question. You're due to fight in Headhunters in June against Jason Woods. It'll be over a year. It'll be a year and 2 months since you last stepped into the cage. Is there been an injury in that time frame, or why have you been so inactive in the past year?
It's actually been a long string of things, right? There was an injury initially. I actually injured myself about... Oh, sorry, I'm going with the camera. I injured myself about 2 weeks before the fight with Blaine.
Yeah.
Actually hurt my ankle about 2 weeks before the fight, but I wasn't going to pull out. I didn't think it was that bad that it needed to be pulled out. So I went ahead and done it anyway. And we just laid off training for about a week and a half, and it was still bugging me. So I went into a physio, and I think it was like ligament damage, fluid build up, like muscle damage all around my ankle. It was like all that sort of jazz. So that had me out for about 6 weeks. And then at the time I was unemployed, so social welfare put me on this 3-month course. It was a new thing with the army, so I had to stay in the Gormastown army camp for about 3 months. So I wasn't doing any like martial arts training, right? And then I got out of that, and then I got out of that in August. I was training away for about a month or two, and then I think since October, I've just actually been ill with one thing or another. I started off with, what did I have? Sinus infection, and then I got tonsillitis, and then I got cold and flu that just seemed to never go away. Then I got really bad ear infections, and then I got bronchitis, one after the other. But now I'm all right.
So at that fight, the night you fought Blaine, that was obviously the third time you and Blaine squared off. He must feel like a sparring partner to you now at this stage. But I'd be right in saying, in a way, as an amateur, you sort of ruled your division for a long time. When you made the big pro debut at BAMMA 22 against Dylan Tuke, it didn't go your way. Did you feel with that result that it put more pressure on you? Because I remember when this fight was building up, I was like, it's such a pity that these two young hot prospects have to fight when they're on their pro debuts, because obviously someone's going to lose their row. So how did that, was there, number one question is two-part question, was there more pressure with the fact it was in the 3 arena on such a big stage with your extensive domination of your weight class? And then number two, how did it affect you after the defeat in that manner?
I don't really think it was much of the pressure. I'm not actually sure what it was, because for the whole day, like, I was buzzing for the fight. Because, like, as I normally do, because like, a lot of guys would be able to tell you, like, to get nervous for the first couple of fights, and that feeling for me never really went away. I just kind of turned it into... I just started thinking about it differently. So, like, So at the start I thought about it as being nervous, and then I just started thinking about it as being excited. But then for the fight with Dylan Tuke, there's none of that. It's just kind of like I was just going to the gym and there was nothing to it. Like, it didn't actually, it's like it meant nothing to me. So even when I was walking out, it was just kind of like, yeah, so what? And there's about 4,000 or 5,000 people screaming at you. I was like, that's not normal. So I just did not feel myself on the day. Like, that's all I can say, you know.
And is that something down the line? Obviously, Dylan lost his last fight as well. It was on the Bellator end of the BAMMA card. Is that something down the line you'd like to get back? Because obviously, with your rivalry with Blaine O'Driscoll, you know, you don't like losing to somebody. You want to get that victory back, if you like.
What, you asked me if I'd like to fight Dylan Tuke again?
Yeah.
I don't really care, to be honest with you. Like, he's moved on. He's on, what is he now, featherweight or something, or lightweight or whatever he's fighting at. Like, so that's probably not even going to happen. Never even thought about
it. Then your next fight was Blaine O'Driscoll. We bring it up as well. Obviously, that card, it's known for unfortunate incident that happened that night. As a fighter on that, Conor McGregor spoke about it openly as well in an interview, how that affected him. How did that affect you, Adam? Was there an effect for you to make you think differently about your approach or what you're doing when you're in there?
Well, to be honest, it didn't really affect me that much, because the way I thought about it is, like, at the level that we're going to be competing at, like, there is that element of danger. Like, it's always going to be there. And I suppose, like, I do train a bit more careful. Like, I don't spar heavy as much, but, like, I never thought about not fighting. Never not thought about anything like that, never.
And does it change now? When you made your pro debut, you made it in the Tree Arena, the big time. Like, there's not many places, nowhere really in Ireland that you can fight bigger in the Tree Arena, unless they do like Crow Park or something, which is just not going to happen. Does that change your approach now to fighting in the smaller arenas? Do you get less nervous? Not that you probably would have got nervous, but do you maybe approach it differently? Like, oh well, my pro debut, I fought at the biggest arena possible in Ireland.
No, that doesn't really change anything to me. Like, at the end of the day, I'm just there to fight. I don't care where it is. Like, I'll go back fighting at the Gat Hall in Rush. You know what I mean? Probably before that, actually. It's more crack. I think the crowd in Rush is way better.
Speak to us a little bit about Rush. Obviously, your coach Paul Cowser runs Rush Fight Academy. Also ran Rumble. I should say, is Rumble and Rush, one of the greatest shows ever. The Rumble and Rush is one of these things that in years to come, when people are talking about it, they'll say, "Oh yeah, I was at that," and you're going,
people still want it back. People are like, bring back Rumble and Rush.
If everybody who says they were at Rumble and Rush were at Rumble and Rush, you could hold it in the Tree Arena. But just speak to us about Paul Cowser as your coach. You're long under Paul here with your training. Like, just talk to us as the man, the myth, the legend that is Mr. Cowser.
Oh, Paul's great now. Like, I've been training with him now for, let's say I'm 23, I started when I was 15, so what's that, 8 years? Yeah, 8 years. But, like, Paul's just deadly. Like, he didn't want to, he gives the shirt off his back. Like, he's always there to talk to, and, you know, like, he knows his stuff. Like, he knows his boxing, obviously. Like, everybody knows that. But then even stuff like wrestling and jiu-jitsu, like, he just knows. He just seems to have a good head for it.
And would he advise you, like, in regards to when you're fighting, like, will he, like, your next fight coming up, would he be saying this is a good fight? Would he be matchmaking? Would he look after you in that way, that he manages you almost as well as coaches you?
I don't, like, he's not going to stick me in a fight where, like, he thinks I'm going to lose, obviously, but he's never given me an easy fight. Like, I think it's a point of pride with him or something. I always seem to be getting the tougher fights. So I remember, like, at the time when I fought, what's his name, Ryan Curtis, like, people were going on saying, like, he was the best amateur flyweight and, like, one of the top amateurs around. And to be fair, now, I wanted to fight him, and, like, whereas most coaches would probably going, nah, he might be a little bit ahead, or, like, you don't want a chance there or something. He was like, go on, you know what I mean? Throw yourself in there.
That was a great fight. I always remember the little promo and all before the two of us were biting at one another, and he basically said, I just want to knock lumps out of one another. But talk to us now. You're fighting over in Scotland on Headhunter, so we're stepping into enemy territory against Jason Woods. What do you know about Jason? Or like a lot of fighters say, does it matter, or did you just focus on yourself?
I know a little bit about him. Like, just when I found out I was fighting him, I just stuck him into the Google machine, just see what I can get. Yeah. I think he was 6-0 as an amateur, I think, and I think he's currently 2-0 as a pro. And he's fighting out Dinky Ninjas, so, like, that's not going to be an easy fight either.
Yeah.
You know, I know that's going to be a tough fight because they're solid gym, and he hasn't even lost yet. So he's obviously good at what he does.
And how did you find the army course or whatever you were sent on? How come you didn't stay?
The money's shite. They're asking me to do it, to go into the army. They're nearly trying to goat me into it. Like,
Wasn't
part of it was trying to get people like an appreciation for fitness. So they started putting us through like these like little obstacle course, and then like 2, 5, 10K runs and all. I just blew everyone out of the water. Like, I was even blowing the sergeants and all out of the water. It was funny. I thought it was hilarious.
Did anybody try to test you in there? I'm sure there was a couple of lads who maybe knew you were a fighter or heard you were a fighter and maybe try to test you in there.
No, there was one lad that we were already messing about. Like, he's a mate of mine. He jumped up behind me and tried wrestling me to the ground and all. But like, apart from that, there was nothing now.
What's down the line? You were telling us there before we came off. You're hitting the sunny heights of Malta in the next few weeks. What's the reason behind that, Adam?
Yeah, I'm going to Malta now on Wednesday for about 5 days, and the reason is teammate Paul Lawrence is actually fighting over there on a show. I think it's called Centurion Fighting Championships. I think the show is called. Yeah, he's going to be fighting a French guy over there, and I'm going to be going over to the corner. So most people, everyone at work is saying I'm going on holidays, but it's a business trip, really.
Business trip. Paul Lawrence, again, it's somebody I always tell Rob about on the show here. The man hits like an absolute truck. And again, Paul has sort of been inactive for a while. I think his last victory was, his last fight was back in Clan Wars, if I remember right. Back in August, September. So again, great to see Paul back in action there as well, flying the Rush flag. And looking forward then, obviously the last year, you're only young, you said you're 23 there, been an inactive year. Are you looking to make up for that in the remainder of 2017?
Yeah, so I'm currently 1-1. Then I have to fight Cian. I'd like to be 5-1 come the end of, well, start of September, not the end of December. I don't want to be worried about fighting around that part of the year. Yeah. Done that before. I fought on New Year's Eve before. I hated it.
Can't enjoy the Christmas dinner.
Oh man, like I remember my Christmas dinner that year was awful. I had like one slice of ham, one slice of turkey, and a handful of like green shite. You know what I mean? Everyone eating chocolate around me. I was going mad.
Do you cut much weight to make flyweight?
No, not flyweight.
No, I fight bantamweight. I used to fight flyweight, but that's just a fond memory now. This is the funny bit. I took a new approach to like eating and dieting and that. So it used to be that I'd be cutting from like 69 kilos down to 69, 70 kilos down to 61 in about 5 days. And sorry lads, this the cat bleeding happened to me wardrobe and he's trying to get out. Hey, God. Right, so anyway, where was it there? Yeah, it used to be about 70 or 69 kilos, cutting down to 61 in like a week. But then I started doing this new thing, it's called flexible dieting, and I'm 67 kilos at the minute. Don't ask me how it works. Yeah.
What's it involve? What do you do?
It's kind of like an OCD version of calorie counting. So it's not just you counting calories, you're counting the amount of carbs, protein and fats that you eat as well. And there's not really any sort of food that's cut off. You know what I mean? Like if you do something like a paleo diet, you can't eat like sugar or half the food that you'd actually want to eat. Yeah. Whereas this one, like nothing's really cut off. But like obviously you have to use your common sense. So like 90% of the food that I eat is still like whole foods. But like if I feel like having a little bit of chocolate or ice cream, I just whack it in there. It's not even a bother.
So if you had one food to throw in there, if you're like, oh, it's gonna fit, doesn't matter what it is, what's the one food you're looking at?
I usually have something like one chocolate bar or a bit of ice cream or something, because there's some things like I couldn't throw in I couldn't throw in 2 biscuits with a cup of tea or something, because I have no self-control when it comes to chocolate digestives or anything, you know what I mean? Like it wouldn't be 2 biscuits, it would be whole pack, gone in 6 seconds.
The mental willpower of nobody is with them biscuits. They are endless. Yeah. Look, listen, Adam, it's been great chatting to you. Look forward to watching you. I'm sure we'll see. So someone will have a Facebook stream of you against Jason Woods. I look forward to seeing you in the pro ranks. Get that record in the direction where you want it going. As an amateur, I've seen you fight numerous. Jeez, I don't know how many times I've seen you fight. But like I said, I look forward to seeing you in the pro ranks. Wish you the best of luck in June. And let's be honest, go and bait the head off Malia, because we're Irish, a podcast, and that's what we're all about. But enjoy Malta, and don't be sitting around the bleeding pool and bleeding whole pads for Paul, will you?
I don't think we even have a gym sorted to go training now. Whether I avail of the training is a different story.
Yeah. Nice. Well, listen, me man,
Enjoy
thanks for taking
sun.
the time, and safe travels.
Thanks very much, lads. Thanks for having me.
Cheers, not a bother anytime, you man. There you are, Adam Beast Mode Caffrey from Dublin's Library there, if anyone's paying attention, or as he said, Rush Library. Bit of a character, loves the digestive biscuit.
Yeah, very very funny. Can't believe I said he was that flyweight. Jeez,
yeah.
that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, so
he's
let's-
right about the digestive biscuits. So you can't just have one or two. It's, you know, at least half the pack.
I'm like that with ginger nut biscuits.
Ginger nuts.
I love a ginger nut biscuit. Yum, yum, yum. Let's stop talking about biscuits and let's talk about fights, and let's get on the Skype machine. Let's bell up David, and let's talk about BAMMA 29 going down Friday night. Welcome back to Obviously Fight Talk, and we are joined now by David Khalsa, who takes on SBG's Cian Cowley this Friday at BAMMA 29. So David, thanks a million for taking time fight week to come on to Obviously Fight Talk.
Nah, no problem, man. It's all good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Delighted,
Cheers for the time, man.
Delighted to have you on, especially fight week. We know you get grumpy when you are cutting weight. So obviously here we're an Irish podcast. Cian Cowley has been a guest on our show on a few occasions. So we know an awful lot about Cian, but like, to be basically blunt, we don't know an awful lot about you. So this is why we said let's get you on and have a chat, because the Irish fans, you know, like I said, know an awful lot with Cian.
Yeah.
So what's your background with mixed martial arts, David? How did it come about for you getting into MMA?
Well, I started MMA about 5 years ago now. So I just basically, I wanted to start doing martial arts, and I had a look around to it was a local club. Russell Perks' picked up on my radar a couple of times, but it had only been open about a year itself. So I messaged Russell, he asked me to come down, and since then that was it. I was hooked, loved it. So the rest of it's sort of history, should we say.
Was it always the idea to compete when you started MMA, or was it more of just to, you know, get fit and have a laugh or whatever?
And I think I just wanted to go and just sort of have a look and see what was going on there. And then as soon as I started doing it, obviously as soon as you start training, you think, wow, I'm learning these skills now. What am I going to do with them? So the natural thing is to go and compete in it, really.
And was it always MMA that you started? What, did you start with something like jiu-jitsu or something, or was it always straight in MMA?
So I just done straight in MMA. I done straight in MMA. Never done no amateur tournaments, nothing like that. I just literally jumped MMA, then straight into the cage at amateur. So no mat tournaments, nothing like that. Just straight into the cage.
How did the opportunity present itself with BAMMA? Because I know you've fought obviously on the Battle Arena show as well. So this is your pro debut as well. So you had 6-1 as an amateur.
6-1 as an amateur, yeah.
So how did the opportunity present itself for the pro debut with BAMMA?
I mean, obviously, I signed with Battle Ready, which is basically James Price. He runs Battle Arena. Obviously, he then runs Battle Ready Fight Management, and I signed with them, and then I got the call from them saying, look, do you want to take this fight on BAMMA with Cian? They didn't tell me like who first. They said, do you want to take a fight on BAMMA? Obviously, I jumped at the chance of that. I'd been like, yeah. I mean, I'd thought about pro, but not sort of this soon. And then someone give you the opportunity, you think, yeah, you've got to take a shot on a show like BAMMA. You've got to take that opportunity and grasp it with both hands, haven't you?
And how do you feel, as in anyone I know from swatting up and reading up a bit more about you as well, that you now live in Kidderminster, I'm right in saying that? But
I do, yeah.
We can hear the accent as well there. There's a Brummie in there as well. So is that something that, again, the opportunity to fight in Birmingham on, let's be honest, the biggest show in Europe, BAMMA, in your hometown, that's surely, it doesn't matter who's standing across the cage, it's an opportunity too good to turn down?
Yeah, I mean, you get an opportunity. I mean, to fight on BAMMA, the opportunity would have been no matter where it was in the country, or even if it was in any other country. You get the opportunity, you got to take it, haven't you? But Birmingham just makes it even sweeter for me, and obviously I can bring quite a lot of people to the show and have some good support. So looking forward to it. Really, it's going to be a good night, I think.
The pro debut again in the hometown, does that add added pressure to an already, obviously your pro debut is a big pressure point anyway, but does it, being the hometown guy and having the crowd behind you, does that add more pressure?
I mean, I've fought in Birmingham a couple of times now, quite a few times. Most of my fights have been in and around Birmingham, so it's I wouldn't say it does. If anything, I think it's having them people around me actually gives me more. It makes me feel a bit better about the situation. Rather than say come over and say fighting in Ireland with no support behind me, I think that would probably be tougher for me than knowing that I've got the support there in the crowd and people cheering me on. So.
And is the contract with BAMMA, is it a multi-fight contract or is it a one-fight deal and then see how it goes after that?
It's a multi-fight contract, so I know I've got a few more after this.
So you said as well there, when you were told originally it was BAMMA, I want a BAMMA fight. When were you told it was Cian Cowley, and did you know who Cian was when the name was given to you, or did you have to stick him in Google?
I had to Google him, to be honest. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't know. So I didn't even ask what weight it was to start with. I didn't know what weight it was till about 2 weeks till I got the contract. So I was there just like, Cian Cowley, and then obviously me and my coach has done some research on him. Obviously, he's done quite a lot of fights in Thai. He's got some good background. He's obviously trained at SBG, so obviously the lad's got skills. The lad can fight. There's no denying that. So, but obviously I've still got to take the opportunity and go and show people what I can do. Now,
the stereotypical question that I'm sure you've been asked in the whole build-up to this fight. It's not as simple as, yes, he's a Thai guy, I'm going to take him down. Or is it? Nah.
It can't be that simple, can it? I mean, he might be expecting that, but I mean, it's a mixed martial arts fight. I'm not just going to go in there and try and take him straight down to the floor. You can't do that, really. You've got to be prepared for anything, haven't you? Really, you've got to be. It could be stand up. I mean, I've done it before. I think, I want to go in, I want to do this, and do that. You get in there, something goes completely different, and you have to. So you can't really do it that way. You've got to take the fight as it comes and assess every step of the fight in a different way. Approach the fight in a sensible way.
In a way, though, right? For you, this fight is there's probably not a bigger professional debut fight you could have to put yourself on the map. If you look at Cian, his social media and stuff like that, he has followings that some UFC fighters don't have.
Yeah.
So this is a huge name. Although it's Cian's professional debut as well, this is a huge name for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's great for me, really. Obviously, Cian's profile is there, just letting my name out there. More people get to see my stuff. I mean, if it was just say a normal, a regular fight that people don't really know, obviously, you still get attention. But the level of attention I'm getting from this fight, obviously, because I'm fighting Cian, it's crazy. It's crazy at the moment, to be honest.
And back to the fight itself, I always wondered this. He's coming from a Thai background. Is that something that you would even look at? Would you look at his Thai fights, or would you focus more on his MMA experience? Because how much applies to MMA from his Thai background?
I mean, to be fair, I mean, you've got to look at all of his fights. You can't just say, he's just going to come like that. Because he's coming as mixed martial arts now. So I mean, obviously, we've looked at a few of his fights. I try not to study people too much. Obviously, I let the coaches do that, and let the coaches tell me on what I need to work and where I need to pick up stuff. But I mean, to be fair, you can't just judge him on his Thai fights. You've got to take him you got to judge him on this whole game. So,
when will the first time you'll see one another in person? When will that? I'm sure it's being press week this week. So, when will the first time you'll stand to get to size one another up?
I think it'll probably be the weigh-ins as far as I know. Yeah, which will be Thursday. Yeah, Thursday afternoon sometime.
Because it's something that I said to Rob as well when we were trying to get you on. We were looking on. Jesus, he's fucking big, isn't he? He's big. Like, what size are you? What height are you? And
what height am I? Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm about 5'9".
Okay. Yeah, no, it's just because the picture we put up on the poster, I'm like, holy shit, the man is a beast. But yeah,
I'm about 5'9" last time I checked. I think I look a bit taller with my trainers on. But, you know.
What style fighter would you say you are as well, Dave? Would you class yourself as a mixed martial artist, or is there something that, you know, if someone was to look at you, you know the way people compare, say, oh yeah, he's a striker or he's a good guy in the ground. Well, do you consider yourself a mixed martial artist, as in you're good on all sections, you have an equal playing field, or if you're a video game, is you're striking the higher percentage?
I mean, I'd say I'm a mixed martial artist, but I mean, I love to bang. Who doesn't love to watch someone bang? That's the sport, and everyone loves to see knockouts and stuff like that. And that's what you got to go for. But I mean, obviously, that's not always on the card. So then, obviously, you have to approach a fight in a different way. So,
will that be something that you'd be interested in? As you know, Cian is he's heavily decorated in Thai. Would that be something you want to do, is to stand in with him and showcase your skills and to show that you also belong at an elite level there?
I mean, like I said, you can't really say how it's going to go. Obviously, I mean, you get in there and I'm sure we'll size each other up, and that'll sort of see where the fight goes from there. Obviously, I mean, it's one of them. You just got to sort of see. I don't know how he's going to approach a fight, same as he doesn't know how I'm going to approach a fight. I could think he's going to do one thing and he can do the complete opposite, and the same as me. So you got to go there sort of with a game plan, but be prepared for anything at the same time, you know.
And following up from the multi-fight deal, it's something BAMMA, the worst kept secret for a long time, it's now official, was that they were coming back to Dublin. Would that be something as well, that if everything went right on Friday night, you came out injury free, would you then come and face the Bills here in Dublin if you got the victory over Cian?
I mean, it's a possibility, and I mean, obviously, I'll never try and look past the fight and see what happens after. You know, obviously, it's one of them. You take each fight as it comes, and then we'll speak to the management team and assess where we go next from here.
Nice. Well, I just want to thank you for coming on again. It's something
fight
that
week as well.
Fight week as well. You know, it's tough. Wish you the best of luck on the night. I'm sure you'll understand. We might be rooting for Cian with us being Irish.
Boy, lads.
But now, at the end of the day,
no problem at all, sir.
We're MMA fans. We want to see, as you said, a good fight.
Good bang.
So we wish the best of you both of luck, and I look forward to seeing you in BAMMA, and watch your career grow as well, and watch you under the lights. And you never know, if you are here in Dublin, there's a chance I might be announcing you. But yeah, look, best of luck, and get the home crowd roaring.
Cheers. Can I just say one thing? Can I just give a shout out to all my sponsors? Can I say Archie Salon, 17th Electric, Hawthorne's Butchers, Fan PT, Outwit Nutrition, MMA Universe, The Martial Arts Shop, Chris Foxall Wedding Singer and DJ, Harrison's Auto Services and Beauty Tackle, and everyone at RPMA. Everyone at BAMMA, thank you very much, and everyone in Ireland, hope you enjoy the fight.
Man, you must have the longest shorts to get all them sponsors on them shorts.
I know, mate, I know.
You'd be coming out in a tracksuit with them all on it.
Thanks, lads.
Listen, David, again, thanks for taking the time, and best of luck at the weekend.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. Take care. Bye. There you have it. That's the other half of the main event for, let's be honest, the Irish people watching BAMMA at the weekend. Watch, really nice guy. It's hard, isn't it, to be like, yeah, Cian. You know?
Really nice guy, yeah.
And like, you know, he's 29, like, so he's saying he's only fighting MMA 5 years, so he came to the sport late. Great record, 6-1. I think this, as Cian famously says, the not have a knock. I think David's up for this.
Yeah,
I think
it's a good test.
I think this could be a great fight stylistically for Cian as well. Like that, if he's going to fight a guy who's willing to trade. Yeah,
and one thing I picked out as well was that he says that he's a mixed martial artist. He started a mixed martial arts, so this is a perfect test for Cian, because you're not going in against a guy who's a grappler who, if you can stay away from the takedown, you're going to win. Or you're going against a striker who, I've better striking because I've been striking for my whole life. You're going to a guy who is good everywhere, you know. So it's going to be interesting to see how well he does. I have to say, it's for me, it's the fight I'm looking forward to most on the card to watch. Obviously, Cian, former guest against David, he's, by all accounts, BAMMA are not giving closely followed by the Tim Barnett fight, because I'm looking because he looked great against Reese, and I can't wait to see how he looks against Rude Boy, and then maybe they'll do the Reese fight again. Yeah, but come on, it's the Burra, it's Cowley, come on. I'm not from the Burra. I think this is a great fight, and potentially
from what Dave was saying, I think this potentially could be fighting tonight.
Yeah.
He's willing to go toe to toe, and he's willing to make it. He's willing to
let them
fight
bang.
everywhere.
Let them bang, bro.
Let them bang, bro. He's willing to take the fight wherever
Yeah.
it needs to go, and I like that. I had to ask the standard. He's a toy guy, so you just take him down.
Yeah.
It must have been asked that hundreds of times.
Yeah. Well done.
So yeah, we're gonna go and we're gonna speak to the Movahedi, the gentleman, the man himself, the beautiful Daniel Movahedi, referee's corner. So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, and we're now joined in referee's corner by the gentleman Daniel Movahedi. Dan, what's the story, man?
Bonjour, I'm good, buddy. How are you guys?
Yeah, top of the world. It's glorious sunshine here in Dublin.
Nice.
It's beautiful out here as well.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, haven't been out
Nice.
yet though. So Cage Warriors 83 took place at Newport Centre this past weekend, and the main event ended in a strange manner when Lewis Long took down Che Mills after 18 seconds, resulting in the former UFC fighter tapping out as he hit the mat. Mills had suffered a knee injury in the takedown, and the fight was done. The winner by TKO had some people confused, and some people took to Twitter to target top referee Mark Goddard. So if you're watching on YouTube, credit to you. We're just going to play it here first.
There we
So
go.
you can see straight away Long
Immediate
gets
tap.
the takedown, and as soon as it hits the mat, Che Mills is tapping. Long looks a bit confused to what happened.
Yeah.
Goddard stopped it, and it got announced as a TKO. So Dan, can you clear it up for us? Why was it called a TKO and not a submission, as Che Mills did? If you did watch it, you could visibly see Che Mills tap. Why is it determined a TKO?
Because he was sustained through an injury, you know, and it wasn't a submission. And yeah, he did tap, but it was indicating that he's injured, you know. And it wasn't clear, like you said, the fighter wasn't sure what happened, but you can clearly, if anyone can hear the audio again, you can see Goddard on it straight away, man. He knew it wasn't from a submission. You could tell him, look, stay down, calm down, call the doctors in. So, you know, it wasn't via submission. And the thing that went on, that was brought to light, obviously you guys saw it on Twitter, people going, oh, why did Goddard give it? And I think that actually the reason was, correct me if I'm wrong, it was announced, or it was somewhere put, that winner due to TKO via submission or TKO via injury. And there's no, you know, it's just TKO, you know. It's
That's what you pay for a good MC for. They know what they're watching and they know what to say. I would have stolen the story,
And a lot of people message me asking me what's the definition of a TKO, you know, and the clearest one, and I can read it exactly from the ABC website again, is if an injury is sustained during a competition as a result of a legal maneuver is severe enough to terminate a bout, the injured contestant lose by technical knockout. And it was clearly through an injury. You know, yes, it was a freak accident that happened. You know, it wasn't as if it was via submission and he tapped, etc. But the whole Twitter thing. And again, how can anyone, you know, question, especially, you know, Goddard's way of keeping fighters safe? It came to light as I kept on reading the chats as it was going along. Something to do with betting, you know. Oh, you screwed my betting thing, you know. Because
that's what it comes down to.
Yeah,
that's what it was, right?
Yeah. The guy had said that he lost his accumulator. He lost his bet because he had Long to win by submission.
Who was the bookie?
I'm not too sure, but
they should have honoured it. Not because that's the correct decision, but just for, you know.
The thing I would say is, I can understand money was coming into it, right? So I can understand that from the Twitterer, let's call him. So the Twitterer, perfectly understandable, and he's going, oh, but you know, he tapped. But my counter argument, and Goddard, like, in fairness, Goddard was decent. Not a lot of people would have the patience to keep sort of replying. Yeah. But Goddard was patient, was giving them the correct information. My argument, if I was Goddard, would be like, well, where was, not the argument, the fact, what was the submission?
Yeah.
A submission is a choke or a manipulation of a joint, or, you know, there was none of that. They went for the takedown and he tapped. So I think the big thing is it was the tap that confused the situation where people thought it's a submission because he tapped out. That's not necessarily, like, does that mean that if I'm ground and pounding somebody and they tap to that I've submitted them by punching them in the face multiple times? No, it's still a TKO. Yeah. So you know,
I think that's where the confusion. That's where the confusion came, and I think obviously we were getting frustrated regarding it being a bet and whatnot. I think the guy, if I'm correct, he was saying, "Oh, well, you screwed up my bet because surely if someone taps, it's a submission." Well, no, you can verbally tap, or by screaming out or shouting out, and then that is what happened. And then he was shouting as well as indicating a tap on the backside. But it goes down as a TKO, end of, and that's it. But again, it comes down to educating fans, educating fighters, educating people on Twitter. But clearly, this guy's a troll, man, and it kind of pissed me off as well that someone would question the Goddard's judgment.
If he had a TKO though, and it went the opposite way, he'd be like, "Oh no, nah." You know what I mean?
For me, I don't know. Maybe it's because I know the rules that I don't see that as or I know how to. Because 9 times out of 10, when I'm announcing a show, I'll always watch. And let's say if I don't see something, if you're the referee, as I'm getting in, I go, "Damn, what was that? Was that a Kimura? What was that?" And you'll just go, "Oh no, it was whatever," and that's fine. I remember in Haste, Reese McKee against Johnny Jitsu. Because I wasn't wearing glasses, and at the time I was watching it, I thought he'd done him with a guillotine or a rear naked choke. I can't remember which way it was. Yeah. And I called it a rear naked choke when it was a guillotine, or vice versa. I can't remember. But that was just through me not seeing it and whatever. So that was a shit mistake. No. But this one is it's the rules. Like, it wasn't a submission. It was an injury. So the winner due to technical knockout because he's unable to fight due to an injury sustained in a move. It's not a submission.
Yeah.
Lay it to bed. But Dan, just about fans. Do you get that regularly? Do you get people moaning at your shows? Probably not the big shows because you're fenced. Not fenced off, but you know what I mean. The fans are a little bit back. But when you're doing like a smaller show, do you get that from fans heckling on what fuck ref, or do you bother explaining?
Sometimes, especially like on stand-ups, when you stand the fighter up, there's not enough action going on. I had one last weekend just gone on BCMMA where I stood a fighter up. At the end of the day, it's not a grappling match. You're not there just to grapple or wrestle. You're there to finish a fight. You're there to fight. And I always say to them, look, let's see some progression from the position you're in, And when you stand them up, "Oh, ref, why did you stand them up now," etc. No, fighter needs to look to finish that fight. Fighter needs to look to progress that position, You do get it, but hey, like you said, as professional as Goddard is, he was, and even I think even through John McCarthy's name, and if you don't believe me, ask Big John. I think the guy's sharp after that, and you're going to get fans who don't want to listen. You're going to get fans who think they know everything, and it would be nice to actually sit down with someone and explain to them, or guide them, say, look, this is the website you want to go for the unified rules. Look it up, educate yourself, and there's plenty of examples. And just on another note, just because it's listed, look, you have, I don't know, for example, Tapology, Sherdog, MMA Weekly. If you notice, each hardly ever, especially on if someone's made a mistake announcing it, or someone's not sure what way it went or whatever, and every decision is slightly different. It's got TKO via verbal tap out, or TKO via tap, or TKO versus a broken leg, or what? Do you know what I mean? It's just a TKO,
Doctor, stop
it's hard for people know that.
I have examples.
And like I said, it was a referee who made the call, and he stepped in there. So
before we let you go, who we got in the main event? Stipe or Junior Dos Santos? Just pick your brain.
I'm gonna go for. I would, Stipe, on the basis that he is the champion, and he's on a roll, and he's been impressive a lot. Whereas, you start to tend to think, Junior, can he take any more big shots? How many wars can he be in? And I think he will be. This fight will be a war, if it is to go. And I think 3 rounds. I can't see it going all 5. I can see someone finishing someone within 3. Nice. But it is an interesting fight. I hope it lives up to the hype. Because I'm bloody up for it. I'm looking forward to it being a very good heavyweight matchup that I think everyone's been looking forward to. A lot of people are questioning, should Junior get a title shot? But he's former champ. He's been in there, so why not?
Yeah, I have no problem with him getting the shot. Dan, listen, pleasure as always.
Dan.
Thank you.
Love you.
Well, I won't see you guys at BAMMA, but I'm sure I'll see you in Dublin, huh?
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, play hard to get.
If anyone has any questions, we never asked this, but if anyone has any questions
referee's
regarding
gone,
a referee decision or like a rule or something that needs clarification, here's your man. Ask it, and we'll ask Dan to clarify.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy
James.
the
Have
rest
a good
of the
evening.
Take
Cheers,
care,
man.
pal.
Peace.
And just as correction for myself, I called Reece McKee a guillotine when it was a rear naked choke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Idiot.
The position they were in, it looked like it was a guillotine, and then he went, that's whatever.
Yep.
So moving on. We are for me, Rob. I'm shocked. UFC 211, Stipe against the Santos here. It's not getting that much hype.
I think
it's on the book of face and all that.
We're still early. We're still early in the week. I think we're gonna see it coming into into the end of the week, coming into fight week.
Great card.
Yeah, great card. We're gonna talk about the main card and under the radar maybe we'll.
Yeah, we'll see. Time pending. What we're going to do is we are going to get on ODDSBible and MMA Latest Darren Russell. So if you want to make a few pennies and punts or sterling pounds if you're not in Europe, tune in. Darren Russell, the man with the tips. So welcome back to Obviously Fight Talk. This is our UFC 211 pick. It's Stipe Miocic taking on Junior Dos Santos for the heavyweight title, and we are delighted to say we are joined by the returning and probably best internet connection Skype guest we ever have, Darren Russell. Thanks, Darren, for coming on again to speak to us from MMA Latest and ODDSBible.
No, it's great to be back. Thanks very much.
And we just, literally before we press record, we were talking about Dana White just made a balls up on Twitter. What did he just do?
So a tweet came out from Dana White just doing his usual fight week time. Nice little graphic on the sort of face value of it. Stipe Miocic, you, the Santos, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, and what everyone assumed would be Andrade, but it turns out it was Claudia Gadelha.
Magical.
Just get a Brazilian female and just throw her on the poster. Who cares?
It's gone, by the way. I'm on Twitter now, and it has been taken.
I'm sure there's screenshots everywhere.
Down. I want to start. We normally do the main card. First of all, I just feel now Rob thinks it's because it's only Monday as we're recording, so the hype hasn't built up yet. I just think this card for the stature of fighters on it seems to be flying a little bit under the radar.
Yeah, I think it's the general gap between the last UFC event and this one. It's not really helped the event, and as it's got closer, a lot of fights have gone under the radar. Even there's not been a lot of hype around Miocic and Dos Santos. I don't think there's generally been a lot of hype around Miocic as the champion, which is bizarre considering he's the heavyweight champion. And even the Damian Maia match, there's not that much real interest in that, whereas I think it's a great fight.
For me,
I do think it's because it's a bit early in the week. I think we're going to see it, but I definitely, there has been cards where, you'd have hype from 2 weeks ago, you'd have hype from 3 weeks ago, but it doesn't seem to be there. But hopefully it does, because it is a great card. Every fight you look down, especially on the main card, it's phenomenal.
What about I put this to you two gentlemen. What about all the fighters that are on it? We're mixed, clearly. We're all involved. We love this sport. But are the guys who are fighting not somebody that casual fans would grab onto? Let's even just look at the main card itself. Are these, you'd think, the casual fans would know who Frankie Edgar is, for example, straight off. But is it that they're not the real casual superstars, if you like, that the casual fan would find?
Yeah, I think so. There's not really a massive personality on the card. I think the UFC are trying to push Miocic to be, much more involved in the media-wise. And outside of that, even Frankie Edgar's not massive, as in works with the media or is massive into his sort of PR stuff. And it shows Eddie Alvarez, headlining the biggest show in the company's history, and now he's on the prelims.
Yeah. That isn't saying that's where I want to start. So I think that's a nice segue.
There is something though. There is something as well. Ariel Helwani always brings this up, and especially brings up again about Stipe Miocic, about not putting him in Cleveland, because when he fought in Cleveland, the amount of media that was surrounding him during the build up to that fight. We probably don't see the local media, but that does kind of trickle down into MMA media. If you have a lot of that free casual fan media, the that kind of media.
Bruce Buffer dancing on Fox Television.
Exactly, it's going to trickle down, and maybe we just haven't had that. What's this in Texas or something?
Dallas,
yeah, Dallas. So you don't have somebody from Dallas or somebody from that state who they're jumping all over to get the media.
I had to withdraw a joke there. I was like Debbie or something.
Dallas.
Debbie does Dallas. So let's start. For me, honestly, I think this is going to be fight of the night in a card that is stacked with potential fight of the night. The return of the Underground King, Eddie Alvarez, taking on Dustin Poirier. The Diamond is looking good at the weight class. Eddie Alvarez coming off the devastating defeat to Conor McGregor. How do we see this one going? And what's your picks? And just let's speak about the fight.
I think with Alvarez, the biggest thing is, how does he come back from such a loss? We've never sort of seen him come back from such adversity. And you look at since he's joined the UFC, he's not had an easy fight. You probably say on paper this would be the easiest, maybe. But again, not an easy fight to come back off such a devastating loss. And I think he needs to get back to his original game, get back to his wrestling. And try and just grind out a decision. I think we'll see him being, very cautious.
Yeah, look, for me at this one, I think he wanted to prove himself against Conor that he could strike and he could do that. And when he got hit, he sort of never recovered from nearly the first exchange of the fight, really. But I think here he'll go back to the bully in the way that, like, I don't know, you get that impression with Poirier that when the pressure is piled on him, like if you look at the Michael Johnson fights, which was a great fight, Johnson put the heat on him, put the pressure on him, got him out of there. Conor done it to him as well, and I just think that Eddie Alvarez is, we spoke about this when we talked about Cub Swanson against Artem Lobov. I just think Alvarez is just that higher tier fighter than Dustin Poirier here. But again, Dustin has been looking great at the weight class. He looks a lot stronger, but I just think Eddie Alvarez is going to be too strong in this one.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I was initially leaning towards Dustin Poirier for a weird reason. It's the knockout loss. Like, sometimes that happens where a fighter comes off a knockout loss. You're not sure, as you said, Darren. You're not sure how he's going to look coming back. A similar situation happened to Poirier with the exact same person. He got knocked out. How did he come back? He came back pretty well. One of the reasons why I was leaning towards Poirier, I'm probably going to pick him, is because one of the things that I think Alvarez needs to do to beat Poirier is either get into that brawl and win that way. But I think Poirier might be a little bit less long in the tooth than Alvarez, so he might be able to outlast him in that. Or if Alvarez can do what he done to in his previous fights to get to the title, where he grinded him out. But we haven't seen Poirier get grinded out like that anymore. He's got grinded out like that before, but it hasn't happened recently. So that's the reason why I'm leaning towards Poirier. Could be completely wrong. It might be just a knockout that's clouding my judgment, but I'm going to go with Poirier. I'm going to say Poirier wins by a decision, but I think it's going to be an exciting fight.
Wow.
I'm going to go with Alvarez by decision. It's 5-2 at the bookies, which I don't think is too bad. Odds-wise, they're pretty much a pick and fight, as they'd say in America. Very close on the markets. And I think Alvarez has just got to, like I said before, he's got to go back to his natural game. And I think over 3 rounds, he's clearly got the cardio there to easily go that. And I think Poirier is just one of those sort of nearly guys that he's always been on the brink of, realising what we've always thought is good potential. But I think his biggest win over Joe Duffy. But he just never seems to make that next level to that sort of elite range of fighters.
Yeah, I think the knockout has clouded your judgment with Eddie Alvarez. Like, if you look at what he done to RDA, and then like you said, he hasn't had an easy fight in the UFC, and I honestly think there's just a different pedigree and fighter, and I just think I'm going to go to stoppage here with it. I'm going to say Alvarez gets it done in the third. He'll beat Poirier up and he'll make Poirier quit. So I'm going to go third round TKO.
Back to the betting before we move on. It's basically a pick 'em. It's 9-10, both guys. It's nice. Go whichever way.
Moving up the card, we have Henry Cejudo taking on Sergio Pettis. This is an interesting fight for a couple of reasons. Everybody thought that Cejudo was going to be the guy to really, really test DJ and see where he was at. Didn't turn out that way. but he's now on a 2-fight losing streak, if I'm correct. I think I am. Against Sergio Pettis, who for a long time was just the younger brother of Showtime Pettis. So there's two interesting factors here, but what's your initial thoughts on the fight?
First thing is I'd definitely go with a decision win either way. Neither fighter has won inside the distance in 10 fights between them in the UFC.
Wow.
I'm not expecting a fight of the night by any stretch of the imagination. I think Cejudo, great wrestler, Olympic gold medalist. You'd expect him to use the takedown, but the thing that confuses me with Pettis is he's a black belt, a second-degree black belt in Taekwondo, but you never really see that in his fights.
Yeah.
And I think it's a bit of a shame, and he's got a big reach advantage in this fight, but I still can't see how he get past Cejudo, who is still number 2 ranked, and he's lost 2 fights on the bounce, which shows, the lack of depth in that division, which is no fault of his own, but... Yeah.
I'm going with Cejudo as well, but looking at Sergio Pettis at the moment, he's 3-1 to Cejudo's 2-9, which I think is very big odds for a guy on a 2-fight losing streak, and a guy who is really, really good, highly ranked. But if you look at his previous fights, apart from the losses to DJ and Benavidez, he fought against, now I'm blanking on his name, Chico Camus, and he didn't look right. And then his other fights, he's looked pretty good, but he hasn't looked that good, since. So I don't know. I was gonna go for Pettis, but I'm not gonna go for him because I do think it's true that he doesn't really show a lot of his strengths, which would be his Taekwondo. I think Cejudo would be a good enough wrestler to keep him down if he does get him down. Pettis is good off his back, but I think Cejudo's just clever enough to stay away from that. So I'm gonna go with a decision as well. I don't think it's gonna be the most exciting fight, but I will say one thing, that Pettis, he's so young that he can get better and better and better and better every time. So
I think the one thing that could be a factor in this is how motivated is Cejudo to fight Pettis, because Pettis isn't the big name realistically for him.
He is a big name though. Still,
no, it is, but it's not. You got to think about it. He fought the champion 2 fights ago.
That's very true. Yeah,
I think he was surprised. I think a lot of people were surprised that Joseph Benavidez beat him.
It was a split, wasn't it?
Split decision. Yeah. So motivation could be a factor here. I'm still going to pick Cejudo here to win this. I just think he's going to
win now. We're all going.
I just think he's got too much for Pettis. But the big factor is youth, and when they go away, they can come back and look. The big thing is, can he stop the takedown? That's the big question.
Or can he get up after getting takedown?
That's also another big question.
It is.
But no, I am going to go with Cejudo, and I'm going to go decision as well. And unfortunately, we're all going to say that this is going to be a boring fight. Watch, this will be fight of the night with a highlight reel. Doesn't use a Taekwondo, spinning wheel kick of some sort.
10 seconds in.
Yeah. Really like the holy shit moment. Rob, one of your favourite guys on the planet that you never stop talking about is up next. We got Frankie Edgar against Yair Rodriguez. This is a legend versus the up-and-comer. But does Frankie Edgar still have something to offer in this division?
Yeah, of course he is. And I think, again, go back to a lack of depth. It shows whenever Frankie Edgar seems at featherweight to come up against your Jose Aldos or the bigger names, it just never seems to, come to fruition for him. And I think it's a big opportunity for Yair Rodriguez. You'd see him as the future of that division, especially a challenger to Holloway or Aldo. And a big reach advantage again. And if he can keep the range, we know Edgar can get hit, but he can also take those hits and keep moving forward.
Yeah, for the longest time, I think anytime you said to me, where are you going, I'm always leaning toward Rodriguez, and I think I'm torn. I think I'm going towards Edgar. I just think it might be a little bit too soon for Rodriguez. I wouldn't be that surprised if he did win it, because I do think he's definitely the future of the division, and he has plenty of stuff there that can trouble Edgar. Like we can see him with Aldo, and when Aldo was staying at range and Edgar couldn't get on the inside, it caused a lot of problems, and I thought that was a great performance by Aldo. If Rodriguez can do something similar, I think he can win it. I'm just not so sure he can do something that similar. You pointed out in his fight with Alex Caceres where he was throwing a lot of strikes from the outside, not a whole lot was landing, and I just think that maybe if it's a similar type fight where Edgar can kind of land a little bit more, he might just edge a decision. So I'm going with Edgar to win it. Might be just a little bit too soon for Rodriguez, but very, very talented.
I'm shocked here.
I'm kind of shocked as well.
I'm looking at Edgar in this one. the whole it's too early, but like it's only too early till you do it, you know, that sort of way. So that although I agree with it, it's in a way it's easy. It's almost the whole Ronda's unbeatable until someone beats her.
Yeah, like John Jones comes up and gets that title shot and wins it, and it's everyone's like, oh, it might have been too early, but it wasn't. Yeah.
I just think here, Frankie Edgar, he throws punches and bunches, he finishes combinations, he's light on his feet, his movement is quick. He's not going to be like Rodriguez uses a lot of flashy, flary kicks that needs the opponent almost standing in front of him. But he also that's one thing Frankie Edgar's not going to be doing.
Yeah, he also throws some nice leg kicks and the front teep kick and stuff as well. So that can work, but he does get into the habit of throwing these weird kicks that mightn't work against the likes of Frankie Edgar, who's just good technically at the basics.
And what you said as well, Darren, about he gets hit and keeps moving forward. Beautiful Rocky quote, by the way. I always do it again, the expiry on the chin, that eventually goes.
It does, yeah.
And Frankie is what? I think he's 24, 25 years of age now. Does that go? If Rodriguez lands one of them kicks or lands one of them big combinations, is he going to have the same chin as he did when he fought Maynard? I don't think so. I'm not too sure.
No.
Interested in that. But I just don't think he's going to be the stationary target that would, you know, really excel and make Rodriguez look that hell of a lot better. I'm not going to be surprised if Rodriguez was to get the victory, but I'm going to go with Edgar here. Just having that old veteran wisdom and knowledge and just the way, the little tricks, the little movements, the little combinations, the little things that earn the points, the little sneaky takedowns that Frank Edgar does, tire him out and get him. I'm going to go with a decision with Edgar as well. But like I said, sit on the fence now. 100% would not be surprised if Rodriguez gets the victory.
I'm going to go for Rodriguez by decision. I don't think he has enough to knock Edgar out. Again, we go back to, does that chin have an expiry date? But he's never been stopped.
Yeah.
And that's now 6 hours in the octagon, which is nearly half an hour more than Michael Bisping, which again is nuts. Yeah. But I think if Yair just needs to use his, he's got advantage all over it. He's 5 inches taller, 3-inch reach advantage, 4-inch leg advantage, and that is, you know, a pretty. If you could put a perfect opponent in front of Yair Rodriguez to sort of make his mark on the division, it would probably be Frankie Edgar.
Yeah, good odds for Yair Rodriguez as well. 11-10 to 8-11, 11-10, not bad.
I've got him 3-1 by decision as well.
Oh, very nice.
And this is a fight that a lot of people got excited about when it was made. Most notably Carl Doran, the host who... Does he even call him a host anymore? Because he just loves Damian Maia against Masvidal here. This is the classic, isn't it, that they always talk about, striker versus grappler. You know, Damian Maia, he's on a 6-fight win streak here. I think this fight surprised a lot of people when it was announced. But what's your thoughts on it?
Well, I was shocked Damian Maia. You didn't feel he had to take the fight. You felt it was next anyway in line. Yeah. As much as the UFC don't really push him, and he's not really that character of that people are going to buy a pay-per-view to watch him, you know, in a title shot. And I go back to, I was at UFC 204 and he was a guest fighter there. And him and Ross Pearson both walked into this lounge to meet fans, and everyone flooded around Ross Pearson. And I think 2 people got a picture with Damian Maia, and he was just sat in the corner like he was attending the event. There was just no casual fans knew who he was.
That's crazy.
And I think that shows why the UFC aren't pushing him and are quite reluctant to give him that title shot, when, for me as a fan, he fully deserves it. The way he took apart Gunnar Nelson, when you actually consider how good Gunnar Nelson is, was crazy. And I think this is a tough fight for him and a risk to take. But if he wins, it just cements his spot as the #1 contender.
Yeah, like it was a weird one for him to take, because you thought maybe he'd wait for the title shot, but if he didn't get the title shot, he would have went for somebody a little bit higher. Maybe he would have waited for Wonder Boy or something like that. But it was a strange one. I do think it's a very dangerous fight for him. But I do go back, as you said, to the Gunnar Nelson fight. The way he was able to control Gunnar Nelson on the ground was amazing. It was definitely something I was slightly surprised by. Not that I think that Gunnar is as good of a grappler, but I just thought that Gunnar would be able to do enough to maybe get back to his feet a bit more, or get into less dominant positions for Maia. But with Jorge Masvidal, if Masvidal can keep on the feet, you seen what he done against Cerrone, and he's motivated. He's very motivated. But I also think that Maia's motivated, because I think he feels hard done by not getting the push from the UFC, not getting that title shot, when I think every fan of the sport, who's not a casual fan, who knows who Damian Maia is, thinks he'll get it. So I think it's a great fight, but it's a dangerous one for Maia. The dangerous one for Maia.
It's the thing is like we all know where he wants it. We want it on the ground. But what I like about Maia is he doesn't come in with these mad from the opposite side of the octagon takedowns. He gets in close to this and like a tripper, and he's smart in how he does it.
He always goes for single legs.
He's big as well. Like he's a big man. And I think a lot of people, when they watch him, like his striking isn't like he went through a stage where he was trying to utilize his striking, and he got a couple of losses. But as soon as he went back to go, no, look, listen, right, jiu-jitsu is where I earn everything, and he's doing it. The people he's run through, like Carlos Condit, who is probably, let's be honest, I have a man crushing Carlos Condit, but like what he done to Condit, he just made it look easy, like against a high world class.
I think you can draw
striker.
comparisons slightly to Condit and Masvidal on the ground off their back, because they're both guys who will go for things. They'll go for submissions, and that caused Condit in that fight.
That's exactly when we were breaking that fight down. That's exactly what we said, is that if Carlos Condit was to try and work for submissions off his back, he's going to leave himself open, and in a way Damian Maia will tempt him, go, oh look, here's my arm, I'll leave my arm here, you grab that now, and it opens something up for him. And that's the same thing with Masvidal in this fight. But if Masvidal lands, man, he's knocking most people out. He has killer
instinct as well.
So
sometimes he doesn't show up.
Yeah, that's very true. What's your pick on it though? Who are we looking at here? Because it's a bit of a we all know it's a hugely dangerous fight. We can see the path to victory for both, but who implements it and who gets the victory?
Well, I think Maia's incredible value at 11-10, considering his record, 4th degree black belt in jiu-jitsu. His jiu-jitsu game, we don't even need to talk about it. It's probably the best in the UFC, in my opinion. And I think going back to Gunnar Nelson, the way he took him apart just showed the sort of level he is actually at. And I think Masvidal's just got to try and stop it going to the ground, because if it goes to the ground, there's only one winner there for me. I think for Maia to win by decisions, 4-1. I can't see Maia maybe submitting him, but I can see him not letting this fight stand up, because you don't want to go toe-to-toe with Masvidal.
Yeah, I'll take it back as well to one of the previous picks that we both done. We both said a similar thing. What Darren said was Jacare. If Jacare gets Robert Whittaker to the ground, it's done. And it wasn't. He showed great will to get back to his feet. But I think Damian Maia, as you said, is just that little bit better to keep guys down. Jacare will take it down, go for submission. But usually Maia, first thing he wants is position. He'll get position, he'll hold the position, and then he'll look for submissions. So I'm going to go with Maia as well. But Masvidal's a beast. I love watching Masvidal fight. I can't wait to watch this fight. But I'm taking Maia for the submissions, and he doesn't get hit. He never gets hit.
Yeah, I think he's going to drag him, like what you said. I think Masvidal's going to wear him like a backpack in this one. I think he's just constantly defending, so it's just exhausting. It'll be completely defensive jiu-jitsu from Masvidal on the bottom. I'm going to go with Damian Maia, and I'm going to go third round submission. I think he'll jade him out. He'll get him tired and capitalise last minute, 2 minutes of the third round. So yeah, Maia submission from Noli.
He's 4-1 for a rear naked choke as well.
Oh,
that was your golden tip. With that was Daniel Cormier rear naked choke.
Yeah,
5-1 it was at the time.
5-1.
Yeah,
they come in.
Yeah, see, easy money, people. Easy money. Your co-main event of the evening sees the women's strawweight title up for grabs, where we have the great Joanna Jędrzejczyk taking on Jessica Andrade.
Nailed it.
This is a cracker practicing all day. This is a cracker of a fight. Can somebody figure out the Joanna puzzle?
I think when you look at this fight and how Andrade has performed lately, you'd think she was, one of the people that could do it, but we thought the same with Gadella. We thought Carolina would do the same. And the question, can Andrade keep that pace, that relentless, 7 strikes a minute when I looked before, which is ridiculously high in comparison to, I think, every fight I've ever looked at. I've never seen somebody nearly topping 7 strikes a minute. But can she keep that volume up for 25 minutes? And Joanna can quite easily go 5 rounds. She normally does.
Yeah.
Average fight time of over 18 minutes. And I just can't see how Joanna's going to be beaten.
Yeah, I'm in the similar boat. I was looking at this fight as well when Andrade was coming up, because I thought it was a really interesting one. And I kind of mirror it back to John Lineker, because I always think John Lineker would be a similar type fighter, except in the men's division. But it could be a similar thing when he come up as well against a guy who can move, against TJ Dillashaw. He just couldn't really get much done. They see a similar situation in this one where Joanna, she does everything well. Her takedown defense has got really good. She goes to the body really well. And I think that's going to be something she's going to look for. She's going to look to go to the body, because, as you said, Joanna, people think of her as a finisher, and she'll finish you. But her most recent fights in the UFC have all gone to decision, and that's because she doesn't play with her opponents, but she'll take her time to figure them out. She won't rush it, and she'll look for it. One thing we will say is that in her last fight, when she does go into the pocket, she can get hit. She got hit by Carolina. Godella caught her a couple of times. So it is possible, but I don't think over 5 rounds, I just don't think Andrade can keep that pace up that she needs to beat Joanna, who's tough. She's difficult to finish.
That's the big thing, is the war of attrition is the big thing. A couple of people have tried it against Joanna and have done really well, like as in Claudia was doing well against her in the first fight, doing very well in the first fight against her, and it almost looked like cardio was what. And it's quite funny when we say cardio, because they're fighting at an elite fighters at an elite level and speed and the intensity in the fight.
That's a part of the game.
So to say cardio it's almost underselling it. You're expecting like to see Roy Nelson when you're talking about it's cardio, but you're talking about supreme athletes here. But I just think she is the Rolls Royce of that. She can absorb the punishment, like when Claudia was putting it on her, she could absorb it, she could take it. She realised it's a 5-round fight, and that's a big thing a lot of fighters don't manage great, is a 5-round fight. And she knows what she can save in the 2nd round, she can output in the 4th round. And I just think it's Joanna, and I can see her using the tactics that she does, getting in the clinch, using her Muay Thai. And I just see, I see Joanna probably. I can see it going the distance and getting the nod. I'll even give you a scorecard.
Will you?
49-47.
Okay, just pick any number. I think that's a good point though, on the cardio, because there's some fighters out there who you look at and they're not great. They don't have great cardio. They can't go hard for 5 rounds, but they can manage their cardio pretty well, and they can when they in moments in fights they can give a little bit and then they can take a little bit back and they can manage it. I just don't know if Andrade can do that.
It's extremely hard to do in MMA, manage rounds like that. Like if you look at boxing, like there's boxing where fighters take rounds off, and they might take 2 or 3 rounds off in periods, and then they come into the fight later on, and that's something that Joanna has. Like if you look, I can't, off the top of my head, I don't know how many have been 5 rounds, but she's scheduled. A lot of our fights have been scheduled over 5 rounds in the UFC.
Majority.
So she's used to it. This is her waters where so a 5-round fight is a different thing to manage. But I just see Joanna getting it done on all judges' scorecards. 47-49.
What's your pick?
And going back to the sort of Joanna point, and I think when Conor McGregor says you need range, you need size to beat me, I think that's the same in the case of Joanna Jedrzejczyk, because Andrade hasn't got the reach, she hasn't got the size on her, and I think that will ultimately be the downfall. And I think Joanna should easily get a decision victory, and I think 7-4 is great odds for that.
Yeah,
I thought it'd be a lot shorter.
Yeah, me too. And I think definitely doesn't have the size. She is powerful though, so I can see in earlier rounds maybe she'd be able to overpower her. But I think Joanna's frame, she's really big, she's really lanky and stuff. So I think over time that will go towards Joanna, the strength as well. So great fight as well though.
Great fight.
Yeah,
absolute cracker.
And knockdowns nearly evens as well. Anytime knockdown over the 5 rounds, which
never even thought of that.
I don't think it's bad odds now.
No, that's really good.
Excellent. Let's move it on to the main event, and it's heavyweight fighting. Who doesn't love a heavyweight fight?
Yeah.
You got Stipe Miocic, the current defending heavyweight champion, taking on the former heavyweight champion in Junior Dos Santos. Some people are questioning, should Junior be getting this opportunity? Initially, what's your thoughts on that one before we actually look at the fight?
I don't have a problem with it. Was he like 1-1 his last 2? Like, something like that. He has lost and he's got to win. I don't have a huge problem with it just because the contenders in the heavyweight division, it's not stacked, so I don't really have a problem with it.
Yeah. Darren?
I think won back-to-back since 2012, but I side with Rob. Yeah. I mean, there's nobody else in the division I look at bar when Ngannou sort of bursts further into the scene. Yeah. As soon as that happens, I think he'll be the next challenger. But no problem for me. I think it's a great fight.
My tip of breakthrough fighter of the year was Francis Ngannou. Yeah, so this is something we spoke about earlier as well, is that Stipe, they're trying to give him that push, and we talked about Cleveland, we talked about that. How did they haven't used that? He sounds exactly like Chuck Liddell when he talks.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
On me. No, he sounds like Chuck.
Sounds like Stone Cold.
They've shared the cage before. How did you feel the first one went? I thought Stipe had done enough in that, and yet all three judges scored it for Dos Santos. So what was your thought on the first fight, and what do you see being different in the second fight?
Well, I thought Miocic's cardio cost him in the first fight. I think he started off the fight really well, and then in the end, he was just sort of laying on the floor, and the knockdown that come was just purely because of tiredness. Yeah. I watched the countdown show before, and Dan Hardy pointed out the way Miocic was stood. Junior Dos Santos almost hit with a slap that knocked him on his back, and I think I could have understood a split decision, but I probably leant just towards Dos Santos, especially the way he came on in the later rounds.
Yeah, it was really close. On the day I gave it to Miocic. Looking back at it, it was very, very close. I'd probably still go with Miocic, but it was a very, very close fight. I'm not angry either way if it went either way, if you get me. It wasn't a robbery either way, is how I feel about it.
I think this potentially, though, is the best matchup in the heavyweight division at this time. With other fighters tied up and stuff like that, I don't have a problem with it. My thing is Junior has been battered by Velasquez. Like that fight is, I still look at that fight and you're like, holy lamb of God. But it's just, Will Junior, he went through a stage. You said he hasn't won fights back to back, Darren, in a while. Like, he's been in there with some of the best, and he's lost to some of the best. One that his most recent defeat was against Alistair Overeem. Now, I'm a big Overeem fan, but I just think Stipe Miocic is a better fighter than Alistair Overeem. So what improvements has Junior made from that defeat, beating Ben Rothwell, and then getting a shot at the title again? What improvements has he made? Do we see a road to victory here for Junior? Or what ways of playing out? What's your pick? Get us in. Speak up now.
I think he's just got to utilise his kicks. He did that so well against Ben Rothwell, keeping him at range, and completely dominated that fight against, someone who was considering sort of being in that sort of title contention in Ben Rothwell with his go-go choke and all that type of stuff. Yeah. But I can't see. I see a more improved Miocic, a drastically more improved Miocic from the first fight, and I don't see that much of a drastic improvement from Dos Santos. I think he's improved slightly, and he's a bit more seasoned since then. But like I said, he hasn't strung back-to-back wins since 2012, and various injury issues. I think he might have just come at a wrong time for Dos Santos. Maybe I think maybe a couple more fights. Whereas it might sort of play against him. If he loses this fight, how many more shots can he keep getting at the title?
Yeah. A couple of things point out to me. You pointed out about the Velasquez beatdowns, but if you look at his record, you have the Velasquez fight where the first one, not the one that he won, the one that he lost, took a beatdown. Mark Hunt fight, that was not an easy fight. That was a tough fight where he went through the mill, then eventually got the finish. Then he fought Ken Velasquez again and took a huge beatdown. Then he fought Miocic, that was an absolute war. That's going to take years off your career as well. Then Alistair Overeem, he gets knocked out, and then against Ben Rothwell, that's probably the fight where maybe you could say didn't take too much damage, looked okay. So out of those 6 fights, 5 of them are wars, or he got knocked out in a couple of them. So
heavyweight them wars add up a lot
exactly
more.
Where Miocic, he got hurt by Overeem, he got dropped, he got straight back to his feet. He had that war with Dos Santos, but against Verdum, fine, quick finish.
Arlovsky inside the first
minute. It was fine. So I think you're looking at guys, especially a heavyweight, if they're evenly matched. Now I do think, as both of you said, I do think Dos Santos has made, Miocic has made the more improvements. But if you're going to say they're evenly matched, a heavyweight, you're going to go for the chin and you're going to go for the durability, and I have to go with Miocic for that reason. I also think that Miocic has got better With his footwork, I think if you look at the first fight with Dos Santos, he started chasing him around the cage for a while. It was kind of weird. That's when he got caught a couple of times. I don't think that's going to happen again. And I think he's more composed as well. So I'm going to go with Miocic to win. I'm going to say knockout. Second round
knockout. Nice. How much your pick?
Yeah, I'd go with a knockout as well. I think he's 10-1 to win in the second round by knockout or TKO, which I think is real good value.
Cheeky tenor.
Because I think I don't think he'll knock him out in the first. I think Miocic will still have that cardio question sort of wearing on his mind.
Yeah.
Of, if this does go further than 3 or 4, has he got it all in the tank? So I think the first round will be quite cautious. But him to win in round 1 or 2 is 9-4, which is good odds on its own anyway for a sort of 2-round bet.
Yeah.
But I think if it does go to a decision, I could potentially see JDS sneaking it at 11-2. But I will tip Miocic in round 2.
I'm going to go with Stipe as well, so we're all going on the clean slate. I think the one thing about Junior Santos is we're questioning his chin. I don't think he gets now. I know he's going to argue and say, well, Overeem done him, but he doesn't get that one punch knockout defeat.
Generally, no.
Yeah,
no.
It seems to be like he can take a baiting.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
And he's probably too tough for his own good because he stays in there a long time.
So I think that's where, like Miocic, I don't think he'll accumulate the damage where he won't be going hell for leather with that one big knockout shot. I think he's going to mix it up, put a lot of pressure on, try and tire Santos out and get it from there. So late second round, mid third round knockout for me for Stipe, and still I just think he's in the form of his life at the moment. When you look at his last few fights, victories over Alistair Overeem, Fabricio Verdum, Andrei Arlovsky and Mark Hunt, big names. There's not bigger names in the heavyweight division there. Realistically, he's beaten the best and he's just in a good form, and I think I don't know, I just think he's at this stage in the career, he's in better shape to be the champion than if Junior Dos Santos was the champion.
Here's the golden question. Does MMA's heavyweight contest beat out boxing's heavyweight contest 2 weeks ago?
As in, be a better fight, or?
It's a tough one.
For me, I don't think it can. I think that was the best thing to probably happen to boxing for quite a few years. And I'm a fan of both. I'm certainly more of a fan of MMA, but that fight was special. It just had everything. It had everything that you thought wouldn't happen. It'd be the same as the Pettis Cejudo fight turning into an absolute war. Because we all thought either Joshua would knock him out quick, or Klitschko would drag it out to a decision. No knockdowns
behind the jab. Well, let's hope. Look,
if it's as good as the first fight,
we'll take that. Big time. But again, it's like comparing. It's too complete. I get the question, but it's they're uncomparable in so many ways. Different sports, different things can happen. I think like if it was that style fight, I don't think it's getting out of the first round, MMA wise, because them little gloves, you can't land them shots. I think heavyweights is weird because I always get excited. Oh, here come the big boys, you know what I mean? Nice one. Yeah. And it's either a fucking Rock'em Sock'em Robots fight or a snooze fest. Yeah. And it's one or the other. It's never middle ground. You never see two really great rounds in a heavyweight fight and one average to male fight. They're either great fights or boring. Yeah. But I'm excited for this one, and I do think Stipe is going to get it done. Let's have a look at it under the radar, Darren. So this, again, I know you're familiar because you listen every week, and of course you've been on with us before. But this is where a fight that we haven't covered that you think is going to be the standout fight of the night, under the radar-wise.
I'm looking tactically. I like the Skelly Knight matchup.
Oh, yeah.
Both very well matched, good jiu-jitsu, lot of submission victories. They mix it up a lot. Rear naked chokes, anaconda chokes, all sorts. So I think that could be a good battle. I'm looking forward to seeing Jocko versus Branch, just to see how Branch gets on his return to the UFC. Yeah,
WSOF champ. That was my two as well. I'm interested to see how Jessica Aguilar gets on against Courtney Casey. Courtney Casey's okay, not great, but Aguilar, I think she's good for that division, so I'm interested to see how she does in that one as well.
I like James Vick. I like that fight again against Paulo Reyes. Vic is what 10-1. I like him. I like him. I think it could be a nice little sneaky. Your man Dariush beat him to take his O. But yeah, I think it's a nice little card, and I think this is a great card. And hopefully you are right, Rob. And it's 5 days out from the fight.
Yeah,
people are getting excited about it. Maybe there's not a lot of coverage on UK Irish. Well, they are covering it, but you know what I mean, because BAMMA's going down on Friday night as well. There's a lot of coverage obviously going towards that. But this is a great great show.
Really looking forward to it.
And my dodgy box better not act up. My dodgy box has been acting up the last day or two. Has been.
Has it been?
I was watching United. Well, it's probably a good thing that I kept freezing. But I was watching United, and it kept, like, when your man bleeding hit that jam shot off bleeding Herrera's head, it paused, and I could just see it looping, and the guy going for it, and I was like, did he score? Is it? I'm like, Dave saved it. Definitely Dave saved it. And by the time it clicked back in, Welbeck was heading them 2-0 up.
Very nice.
I was like, forget you, dodgy box.
Gone out to the sun.
Yeah, so hopefully Dodgy Box is in form and we watch the UFC in comfort. Is there any special bets there that you think could be a sneaky little accumulator, or just the last time you called DC rear naked 5-1 any time? What's your shout this time? What is your tipster's tip?
I like James Vick by submission. That's only priced just over evens, but I think good value there again. And Jotko by decision, about 6-4, but decent value. As far as an accumulator, there's a few fights you're sort of wary to touch. Yeah. But I like Gordon. I like Aguilar. Yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see how she comes back from that injury.
Yeah.
Nearly a couple of years out now. Vic, Jotko and Cejudo all to wins 15-2. And when you start throwing 5 fighters on, anything can happen. It takes one of you to let them down. But to get those big prices, you got to throw some people in there, you know.
Yeah. Exactly. I think that Chaz Skelly and Jason Knight could be a very good fight, depending on how it goes. If Chaz Skelly can kind of get the wrestling going and stuff, maybe not. But if it turns into a brawl, it could be interesting.
That's it. I'm looking forward to 211. Darren, thanks for taking time to come on, break it down again. I always love your tips, and I will definitely be listening back because they leave my mind when we're here. So
where do we get you on Twitter so we can insult you again if they go wrong?
So it's at D Russell MMA. That's Russell with double S, double L. Twitter, Instagram. Find me on Facebook. Message me, whatever. Add me on Snapchat if you want to give me any abuse, or you want to say thank you. You don't get many thank yous. You get a lot of abuse. So.
Why would they thank you? You're telling them obvious things. Like.
No, because when they get it right, they'll go around saying, "Oh, look what I guessed," or "Look what I picked."
Exactly.
Fuck off.
Come here. Are you attending? I'm sure you are. Are you attending BAMMA this weekend as well?
Yeah, I'm going down to BAMMA on Friday night, so that'll be good. I went to Newport for Cage Warriors, which was a good event.
Yeah.
Thoroughly enjoyable. Long journey.
Yeah.
But worthwhile for that sort of tight, sort of old-fashioned arena.
Yeah.
You go to the bar and you ask for a pint of Coke, and they're there with a Coke bottle, tipping it into a little glass, £1.10. You don't get that in big arenas, you know.
No, $4.50.
It was a nice atmosphere, and to see all the sort of Welsh UFC fighters hanging around there, Jack Marshall and Brett Johns, and some good performances by Joe McColgan, and a bizarre end to the main event. But
very well,
outside of that, a very good night.
Who's your tip? Put you on the spot. Who's your tip for fight of the night on BAMMA 29?
That is putting me right on the spot.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Let me have a quick look at the card. I'm not committing to it.
We had David Khalsa on earlier as well. So.
I like the Barnett Saeed fight.
Yeah.
I'm quite a fan of Barnett, to be honest.
Nicest guy in the world.
Yeah, in the world.
Yeah. So.
And what do you think? Does he hold the title? Does he retain his belt, or have we got a new champion?
I think he's going to retain the belt. I think it's bizarre for it to be on a Friday night, but I think I wonder if it'll affect the attendance.
It seems to be the Bellator effect, doesn't it?
Yeah,
they've done a few with Bellator, so Friday night fights.
Yeah, I didn't like that when Bellator came here and they done the one up in the north because I couldn't even go because I was in work.
Didn't even go. I went. Yeah. Listen, pleasure talking to you. Getting the inside. We'll speak to you again. Might recap BAMMA 29. We'll go through the winners and losers, and then we can look forward to BAMMA 30s, which of course is returning to Dublin's 3 Arena in June. So Darren, again, thanks a million for taking the time, you man.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
Cheers, man.
Darren.
Take care.
Cheers.
Yeah.
So there you are, a few quid, few bob. I don't know how we're running because there was a lot of editing,
Yeah.
but we're all right.
I reckon, could be completely wrong, I'm going to say 135.
I don't know, I'm gonna go with a good solid 140.
Okay. 5 minutes in the difference.
5 minutes. So that's been 66.
Like the Price is Right when it's like, I'm going to say 620 and then the fucking arsehole goes 623.
So look, a lot to look forward to this weekend. You've BAMMA 29 on Dave, or if you're on Facebook, it's on the Lads Bible stream. You'll get it. Check it out. You'll see David Khalsa, who we had on earlier, take it on Cian Cowley. So we'd like to thank Dave again for taking the time to come on to obviously Fight Talk.
Yeah.
Fight week, you know, fair play, coming on to the show, and you know he's coming on to an Irish podcast.
And
he's obviously going to
check out Cian Cowley on What's the Story, because that was really good.
Yeah,
as well.
big time. Yeah,
So
listen
listen to both of them and then watch the fight.
Exactly. And thanks as well to Adam Caffrey as well for coming on. Flying off to Malta with Paul Lawrence, fighting over there and fighting on Headhunters. We'd like to thank Movahedi for coming on as well.
Little cameo.
Yeah, Darren Russell again. It's great getting him on with his knowledge and his tips. Big shout out to Fight Star Ireland, the Fighter's Choice, everything you need under one roof, and the MMA Mix. They're obviously good because they're with obviously Fight Talk. He's been Robert Pallam.
Thanks.
And I've been Noel O'Keefe. And this has been 66. See you all next year.